All right. Welcome back to the world famous Tipatinas. Thank you so much to Tipatinas for allowing us to use the space, and thank you to Nugs.net for the usage of the equipment. We got a very special show tonight, and I would be a bad husband if I didn't say one thing. This is October 16th, 2020. Today is my 4th anniversary with my wife, Karamia. And thank you. I love you very much, baby. I know you're at work right now. We went out last night, so we had
I was
our
about to ask
anniversary
if you took care of your business.
Yeah, for sure. So, my guest this evening has nothing to do with that. I just thought I would say that I would be an ass if I didn't mention it. Is basically all it was. My guest tonight is someone who I've known for a long time, probably the better part of over 15 years for sure, since before Katrina. You might know him from the radio. You might know him from the television, especially if you live in New Orleans. Ladies and gentlemen, LBJ.
Hey, what's happening, Tank? How you doing, man?
It is good to see you.
Tipatinas TV, that's what it's called?
Tipatinas you're watching this on Tipatinas.tv, folks.
Tipatinas.tv? Mm-hmm. Tank TV. What's happening, Tank? How you doing, bro?
That's the next channel. Don't say that yet.
Don't let them know what's up.
Yeah, no. We can't let people know what my real plans are with all of this. Start my own TV station.
It's good to be here, man. Thanks for having me. I'm honored.
Yeah, man, it might be fun because you're normally interviewing other people. Now I'm interviewing you.
I hope I got good answers.
Well, if at the very least, if I start to do a really crappy job, you can just start asking me questions and we'll figure something out from there.
It's an honor to be right beneath Fest.
Yeah, man. At the very least, it's kind of cool just hanging out on the stage, even at an empty Tipatinas. We got the place to ourselves. I mean, we got Tubbs over there.
Yeah, Tubbs is there.
But other than that,
I thought his name was Tugs, but
not Tugs.
Okay, he straightened me out, and then Tanner's upstairs, right?
Yeah, Tanner is upstairs as well, and I think Tanner's dad is in the house too. He's probably
Mr. Tanner. Hello, sir.
For those of you who don't know, you are a co-host of WGNO's, our local ABC affiliates.
Yep.
News with a Twist.
Yep. Did that for a long time. Actually, Twist is just rapping. They went all news now, and I host a ton of different stuff.
I wanted to ask you about that.
Playlist, New Orleans music playlist. Yes. Do host that. The position I currently hold in the news department is called Moving New Orleans Forward Anchor.
Okay, yeah.
So that is a community initiative thing they're doing and all that now, which I love because I'm about that community. You know?
Yeah, you've been a part of this community for a long time. Something I didn't realize, you were not born in New Orleans, were you?
I was not born in New Orleans. I was born in New York.
Rockville Center.
Dude, you got the bio straight. Damn. Yeah, I was born in Rockville Center, actually. But it's weird because my parents are from New Orleans. Okay. The tribe is from here. My dad and mom, as a young couple, moved to New York because my grandmother lived there on Long Island. And my dad moved to New York, young couple. Hey, not doing much down there. Come on up. Maybe you can fall into a trade or something. My dad did. He became a floor man and a flooring contractor, had one of the bigger flooring contractor companies here in New Orleans. He did carpet and tile and wood and ceramic and all that stuff. But anyway, in the time that we were in New York, that 6 or 7 years, I was born there, my sister Kim, my brother Dennis, and then they moved back here. So I've been here forever.
I was going to say, how old were you when you came back?
It's weird, man, because I came back when I was 5 or 6, I think 5. But the weird thing is, I came to New Orleans for the first time when I was 5. My grandparents lived there for probably another 15 or 20 years. 15 years.
All right.
And that is where my 2 brothers and I spent summers, from the last day of school until it was time to go to school again. My mom put us on a plane. We were in Long Island all summer. And then we were back in New Orleans and, doing our thing here,
Okay.
And so it was a great way to grow up, to sort of see something different, you know what I'm saying, but also kind of really live into this great gumbo culture that we have here,
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, man, it's cool.
So wait, what grade were you in when you started going to school? I'm sorry,
when I moved back to New Orleans, I was 5, so that would have been right at kindergarten at 1 o'clock.
Kid,
I was a little kid. Yeah,
okay.
They were only there like 4 or 5 years.
All right.
And my dad started his business down here, started his business up there, moved it down here, employed a couple hundred people over his life and stuff, and yeah, man, he had a pretty nice little business down there.
Right on. I did know this. I did know this, but there was something I didn't know. I did know you went to St. Aug.
Yep, played in the band.
So you played in the band. I didn't realize you're part of the Marching 100.
Marching 100,
What'd
man.
you play?
I played baritone and valve trombone. I
Yeah?
played trombone in the jazz ensemble, but I played baritone horn in the marching band. But you know what's cool is actually I started playing trumpet in elementary school.
All right.
That was kind of the era in the 70s when, in fact, or late 60s, early 70s or whatever, when they actually taught music in schools, in elementary schools and all that stuff. Played trumpet. And then we moved to Treme. And I went to Bell Junior High, which, you know, at the time I didn't know, but came to know as really one of the premier, what called junior high, middle school marching bands. And you had Bell Junior High, you had Woodson, Cohen had a pretty decent band, Lawless had a pretty decent band, but they were all, we've got this interesting culture here where those junior highs became the feeder schools for these incredible high school bands. You know, the John McDonough band, the McDonough 35 band, the Forche band here uptown, you know, the St. Aug band and all that. And so that was an awesome thing to sort of be a part of that. We don't have that feeder system now, if you will, for the high schools and everything else that existed back then. I guess it exists in different structures now. There's some elementary programs that have sort of come back and all that. But yeah, man, that was the deal, and I had a blast. And it's crazy because I actually wasn't a bad musician. I was section leader and all that. I was pretty good. But by the time I was leaving St. Aug, I knew that it wasn't something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I was at St. Aug. Terrence Blanchard was in my freshman class.
Yeah, I was going to say,
like,
the alumni alone, and not even just for your years, but if you look at the, 75-year history of that school, I mean, besides all the NFL players and all the politicians
all these
and
boys
everyone
can
else.
play. Hell yeah, man.
Like, the musicians alone and people in the entertainment industry from St. Aug.
Deacon John, people like that who I knew could really play and devoted their lives to that. And I don't think that I had the commitment to do that.
Okay.
And I'm happy to know that I didn't think I had the commitment to do that. But I do regret not continuing to play as a hobby.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you still play? And
No,
that's a
I
shame.
did. I just put the horn down, and I tried to play again about,
you didn't try to start up a band with your friends on the side
10 years ago,
or
and I
anything?
sucked absolutely.
Oh, man.
I lost my chops and everything. And the crazy thing is, the horn that I played, baritone horn, Norman Robinson plays, the old news guy.
Yeah.
Continues to this day to play that horn, baritone horn, or euphonium, some people call it. And he plays in a classical orchestra here in New Orleans.
I didn't
and
know
it's
that.
very good. Yeah, he's very good. I mean, but, you know, it's one of those things that, damn, I wish I'd have continued to play because I could have been doing this and
you could have been
still
hanging out on
I'd have had a
Tip
hobby.
Yeah.
I'd have had a life.
No, I'm surprised you didn't try and start up a little band on the side.
I
or something
played
like
in a
that.
band. I played in a band.
Really?
And, man, we played in a band. Let me tell you. There was a guy when I was in high school by the name of Willie Metcalf, who was this incredible jazz pianist who had come from Detroit. And he used to have these workshops on the weekend that where he would just, up on Dryads. Ellis also did the same thing, and I'd done a couple with him when we were in high school, because not only in the marching band, I played jazz ensemble, I played classical and all that, and it was just a joy to play with those guys, but outside of playing with Willie Metcalf on Saturday or Ellis's little sessions or whatever the story is, you know, when we're not marching in parades and all that, yeah, of course we had gig bands, you know, and I don't know, dude, I just was tired of it.
Well, that's wild, man. Somebody
I was I'm done.
just put it down and walk
Yeah,
away.
exactly, huh?
Just walked
How
away.
stupid is that? All of that invested. You know, I'm sure my parents were like,
But even still, here's the one thing, again, many people, might forget that you were on one of the top-rated radio programs in town for a long time.
Yes,
But so you stayed with the music industry.
yes, that was really cool. That was kind of what I gravitated to right outside of, man, it's so funny. You're exactly right. That's the connection of me doing the radio thing and everything else. But it was weird because I really did like it and I loved the radio industry. But there was the music side of that, which also was a big turn on. You know, I probably got in the radio because I love the songs.
Yeah, that's why I think that's why everyone gets into radio. I'm sure that's not true for everyone. There's plenty of people who are like, oh no, I just want to talk and make people listen to me. But no one
just want
gets
people to
in
know
doing
I'm
that.
on the
no
radio.
One starts out that way.
No
one starts out that way.
Yeah, man. But you know,
You dig the songs and you
I
want to
dug the
curate a couple
songs.
hours, you know?
Right. And simultaneously, I left St. Aug, went to Loyola. And I was studying communications. And first semester, it wasn't a whole lot very interesting that really got my attention. First semester or two, you're studying communication. You know you kind of want to do something, but it's a lot of theory and it's a lot of, you know, history and ethics and, you know, which is all great. And you realize and recognize how important it is now. But at the time, it's not a very exciting existence as a freshman in college in terms of, okay, if I want to do this, this doesn't look like it's connected all the way. So they were looking for folks for the radio station. And at Loyola's notes in the Dana Center, hey, we're looking for announcers, this, and this. Please stop by. So I had a Sunday jazz show. I say a jazz show. You play any damn thing you wanted. But
How far was the reach? Like it went all the way down to Napoleon and all the way up to Carrollton?
You're giving it way too much credit,
right,
dude.
yeah.
This went into the pub.
I was saying, it went from Palmer to Pine, right? Yeah.
It went to the pub. And so my boys would be in there on Sunday afternoon. I'd buy a pitcher of beer and a pizza. And, you know, I'd do a break or two and come out and stuff and be really proud of myself. And my boys be like, dude, that was awesome. Hey, man, I think we're out of beer. I think. You want to fill that up? Fill that up. We'll stay another hour.
Yeah, but we'll keep listening.
Yeah, keep listening to that groovy
rap.
you're doing in there. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, that was kind of the thing. But I got really lucky. One of the things that happened is that I had, I think by my second semester, you find that people that have done the work and that are in the business, if in fact they choose to teach, a lot of the times they're much more, I don't know, relatable.
Okay.
And so I had a couple of folks. One would have been Bob Krieger, who was a local sports and news guy, who was my radio production teacher, who was really good and very laid back and knew his stuff.
Okay.
And his grandson is currently on Fox 8, Rob Krieger.
Okay, I was going to say, Krieger sounds familiar.
Bob Krieger,
but...
if you lived in New Orleans in the 70s, you would have known Bob Krieger. And another guy was a guy by the name of Peter Kalish, who had worked at CBS. Was there when, you know, Kennedy was assassinated or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Here's a guy who really knew his stuff and everything else. And so you have those kinds of guys that you're like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. So, and the real grace I got was word of mouth. Someone told me in like January of my second semester at Loyola, freshman year, hey man, there's a guy at WYLD that's teaching a community radio class on the weekends, and he'll hire you. No, he won't hire you. He'll teach you this. If there's a position, yeah, he may hire you, but he definitely will teach you radio. Guy's name is Brute Bailey. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I immediately called over there, right? And left him a message. He called me back. Yeah, I do this little thing on Saturday mornings, and you know, if you're interested, you know, we'll be starting up in another week or two. Cool. I was there. First day in, guy says there's like 8 of us there. You know, different people, different walks of life, and all of that. I think I might have been the only student there. He said, "Listen, I can. I do this in every city that he'd come from, D.C. or something." He said, "I do this in pretty much every city I go in. You know, I can't promise to give you a job, but I can teach you what you need to know in order to get a job someplace.
All right.
You know, and I'll teach you how to use your voice and how to make commercials and stuff." We were editing on tape and stuff. Okay. And I immediately thought, dude, you're going to hire me. I love this. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what happened. I was one of those kids you had to put out a radio station. Hey, LeBron. Hey, man, why don't you go home and get some sleep? You know, that kind of stuff. I'd get out of school. I'd immediately go over to YLD FM. You know, AM. My first gig was about a month or so after that, working on YLD AM. And I was doing Loyola, was doing YLD AM, and I did that for several months and then started doing more DJing and clubbing and all that stuff. Yeah.
What was WYLD like back then?
Ooh, man, you know what?
I mean, today, for people who don't know, that is massive
Heritage,
station.
Heritage
And
station.
you back on WYLD, actually.
Yeah, really, huh?
You back doing Sunday mornings again.
There you
for,
go.
You know.
Exactly. WYLD, back then, you know, it was probably closer to what black radio has been for the community, and that has been an information source that probably wasn't anywhere else. Think about it. When Dr. King showed up in the 60s and all of that, it's not like WWL was going to be, hey, Dr. King's going to be at Ebenezer.
Like, come right on in. Yeah.
Exactly. So the way in which the movement happened across the country, it kind of happened hand in hand with urban radio.
Yeah.
With being able to say, here, come. Now, that predates my time in radio, but that's just an example of what exactly.
He has not been an adult since the 60s.
No. The point I'm making is that Brute treated urban radio in that way. It's how he programmed. He started things like You and the Law, these little vignettes he ran from a lawyer. You know, hey, if you're in an accident, here's what you do. These weren't commercials. These were vignettes that aired every week. There's another segment called You and Your Health and how you might know if, in fact, you have diabetes or heart disease or something like that. And I think that urban radio, in its way, in that era, helped things like Dutch Morial get elected to be mayor. And you know what I'm saying? In this city. So that's what WYLD was like back then. You had a significant number of urban stations that were either family-owned, minority-owned, or locally owned that had a much more vested interest in not necessarily, we're going to play your music, you know, but that is an information source, and it is something that is much more valued in terms of who we're talking to versus where we are today.
Oh, man, I think that's beautiful, and I'm so glad that you're on the program just because a lot of people don't realize this. Not like I'm anyone important at all, but I know a lot of people from.
Oh, you are important, Tank.
But I was on the radio for a few years, so I had a very bright but short radio career of about 5.5 years or so. You were part of my morning family.
Yes,
when I was producing the morning show, y'all were right next door. On old school 102 point. I'm saying that wrong. Old school 102.9.
Get on, Tank. You get that VO job.
Y'all's big voice was awesome. Whoever that guy was, he had such a cool voice, man. I loved him so much. But people like you, Big Abe, that we were just talking about, Sig, Jace Edwards, even Wolfgang, Screamin' Jay Stevens, like Vidra. There was tons of people that I was learning from because I was just a kid. Like I was just finishing up college myself. And the one thing that Jace Edwards, at the very least, he worked nights. I'm sure you crossed paths with him, but he wasn't part of the everyday.
Jace was good, man.
It was always, like the purpose of my program is to educate, entertain, and enlighten. It was such a good little mantra to put on there that it was like anyone who is not doing that, quite honestly, you're just making noise. Like, why are you on the radio if you're not going to try and do those three things with your voice, with your medium?
Dude, I've been so honored. I've had one of those careers you dream about because there's a guy in this city who used to come on the radio, and I'm a snot-nosed kid, and it's kind of like, like you were talking about early in your career, and I'd work overnights on YLD AM, which was an urban station that kind of played a different, kind of maybe like a little older urban music than the FM at the time. The FM was still dabbling in like a jazz. We were kind of like the straight urban on the AM. I was started on the AM. And at 5 a.m., this old guy used to come in and do gospel. And he'd bring his records and his little glasses. And, he'd come in, hey, Mr. Winslow. And, and that was the great Professor Vernon Winslow, who was still teaching at Dillard at the time. And he is a historic man named Dr. Daddio, who had worked when radio was race radio, when in fact you couldn't use I'm Vernon Winslow, the black guy, on radio. You had to come up with these names and monikers and all that, and the audience didn't kind of know who you were. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And so this is a dude who still had some of the most brilliant means of delivering that, and he played gospel for 1 hour every morning. And, you know, I'm in the back trying to spray something on me because I just smoked a joint outside and I don't want Mr. Winslow to smell me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm honored to every morning work up to a point where Vernon Winslow is about to come on the radio.
Yeah.
You know, and it was, I learned about him over the years and over the years and over the years. And you know, he would impart little nuggets here and there, never trying to pry, little fella, you should do this, and none of that kind of stuff. Never, ever, ever. He was always really pleasant. But I kicked myself for not sitting down with the guy and just saying, tell me what it was like.
Yeah.
You know, and how did you do this? And what did you do that? And da-da-da-da-da. And oh, my God, you know. I've had one of those dream careers where I've worked with people like that. Warren Bell, you know, who, you know, eventually worked for me, but Warren was a big-time anchor here. Warren Bell started on the radio in New Orleans when he was a junior, I think, at St. Aug. You know, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, big name, big names, yeah.
Oh man, it's wild. Like,
Yeah.
I almost just kind of want to like bullshit about radio all day. Like, it's funny again for people that don't know. Not like
Yeah.
we've got thousands of fans or anything, but
You
getting
do.
in the studio before dawn, you know, when there's no one else in there. The only other people in the building are literally the other morons in radio.
Yeah, you're here to make the
showing up.
magic, man. you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you were program director,
Yeah, did that
co-host
for several
Kelder. You
years.
had the home team.
Yeah, did that for
You know
several
what?
years.
And you know, we were talking about Big Abe. I still see Janky Ashley every once in a while.
Ashley's doing her thing, man. Ashley is so funny, man. Jinky is a professional photographer
Yes,
now.
yes.
And
She's shot shows here.
killing
and
it.
I'm just blessed to have you guys because, again, y'all were on the cool R&B station, and we were on the redheaded stepchild rock and roll station.
Y'all kicked
so
ass over
we
there,
have,
dude.
you know, strippers and midgets coming in the studio, and y'all have the Reverend Jesse Jackson coming into the studio, or whoever, like, you know, someone who was like, holy did you see who they had at Old School today? You know who came in the studio?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sure enough, as soon as we could, we're like, hey, Reverend Jackson, would you mind coming in here? He's like, you know, he was nice enough to come in and talk
Yeah, he
with
was
us. But it's
cool,
like,
man.
sorry we tricked you into coming on
He
our
gave us an
stupid
award,
station.
dude. Let me tell you this. Dude, I'm gonna get crucified for this. So Rev gave us this award after Katrina, and I don't know who to blame. Whether I blame the Rainbow Coalition or Reverend Jackson or the trophy people. But Rev gave us this award, and it's a globe, a wooden globe that's carved and stuff, and it's like a person holding it up. And it was beautiful, and it was a ceremony they had, like at the Sheridan or something. This is after Katrina.
Yeah.
And he had come down a few times trying to help get money for folks and all that. And that was really cool. And he gave this award to me and Kelder. And we were there, and we took pictures and all that other and they said, okay, we'll mail you the one that you get. And the one that we got was kind of like a knockoff. It wasn't like as nice as the one that we
No,
took the pictures with.
yeah, I was gonna
The one
say,
we took
it's
the
not the
pictures is
real
like,
one.
the one we
not the
took the
real
pictures
one.
like killer. It's like, oh my God, this is nice. We're getting one of these. I said, Kelton, I'm keeping this one. You know what I'm saying? When it comes, it's going to the crib. I'm gonna leave it in my office or something. And I still have it. And like I said, it almost looks like I carved. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know who to blame. I just know that's how that went down. You know, and it's really nice. It's in a glass case and still, but that ain't the award we took the picture with. Let me just say that. All right, that's a bullshit, Rev. You know.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Well, you'd been on a bunch of stations, I guess, before, again, at
Yeah.
Old School. You had already been in radio for probably 20 years before
Ooh,
you came in. You
yeah.
were on the radio early 80s, right?
Yeah, I
Back when it
started.
was still knobs instead of faders?
Yeah, that's
Is there-
exactly
yeah.
right. I started at YLD AM in 1981, the
Wow.
spring of 1981, and did that and worked there for a couple of years. I think I was there a year or two, about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, new program director, new people. No. The first time I got fired, I think I got fired because like I got busted smoking weed or something.
All right.
It was something ridiculous.
Bound to
Yeah.
happen, I guess.
Yeah, that would happen.
That's another thing about radio, I guess a lot of
Yeah.
people don't realize is
Yeah.
everyone gets fired eventually.
Yeah. You ain't did
And
radio until
again,
you get fired.
Me,
Yeah.
the guy who had the short but hot career, like,
Yeah.
I got fired one time, and I haven't been back.
Yeah, everybody gets fired.
I found something else.
Yeah. Well, good, Tank. Good. Yeah, that's good for your sanity. No, I got fired. I'm trying to remember. One of those things happened. All right, for the record, But anyway, and then I started working in Baton Rouge at WXOK, which was their big AM up there. That's their heritage. Their YLD heritage in Baton Rouge is WXOK.
Okay.
And I worked for Al J. Wallace, and Jeff Hedge had worked up there for a minute too. And simultaneously, I started doing a lot of nightclubs and stuff. I was still in school for another year or so. But there was a time, and I was in Baton Rouge for about 6-8 months. And then it just so happened that the club gigging started taking off a bit more. And I was making a lot more money DJing clubs.
Yeah.
And there was a time that I DJed clubs like 7 nights a week. And it was every club in New Orleans, the Brass Bull, the this, the that, Spades, whatever. And the biggest place here in New Orleans at the time probably was Nexus. And Nexus was kind of run like a radio station because Terry Davis, who was the old radio guy that we all kind of came through radio together, was the manager. And so he had myself, Slick Leo, A.D. Berry, and Jamel. We actually had a staff of DJs at this place. And this place was really a very cool spot back in the game because downstairs you had an area that was kind of like they had a little stage. And so Ellis Marcellus and his trio would play happy hour. And then upstairs was the discotheque. And it was out in New Orleans, it was out in almost to where UNO is now on Robert E. Lee and Elysian Fields. But it was the spot. And it popped really good, and we made a ton of money. So I did that for a while. Went back to YLD under Del Spencer. Was there with him for a period of time. And then, decided, after Del left, I think I was there like 2 years with Del, and then I continued to play a whole bunch of clubs, and I moved to New York for a year. I was just kind of like, what? Yeah. My little brother DJ had graduated from Loyola, and he was running a foundation up there, and he asked me to come up because, like I mentioned early on, my dad did the floor covering thing, and Dennis wanted me to come up and oversee the construction of a building they were building up there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still working clubs, I'm still doing this, but you know what?
Like
yes, because I'd worked for my dad and my uncles. My
okay.
grandfather was a contractor, my uncles, and you know what I'm saying? I'd done all kinds of stuff and everything. But it was one of those things where was moving a whole lot faster down here and all of that. But you know what? It'd be nice to get away for a minute. So I was going for a minute. I left, the club, I think Nexus had closed and some other stuff. And so I went to New York for a year. And it was cool. And when I came back, I was doing something. And I managed to run into some folks who were, QUE had just decided that they were going to become an all-out urban station. Derek Monet was the program director. We all connected and everything, and Derek asked me to come in. Did I want to do some weekend stuff or whatever after I'd gotten back? I said, you know what? I don't mind. I'll dab around with it. I'm probably going to start doing some club stuff again and all of that. One thing leads to another. I become full over on the Q staff. That would have been in 90.
Okay.
So,
something else about that, like, hip-hop was starting to rise up for sure, especially on the radio.
Yeah. Hip-hop's really kind of taking over and all of that, doing this thing and all of that. And Q decides to make a real run for YLD because YLD was the big station here, YLD FM. And so at the time, you've got, on that staff, C.J. Morgan in the morning with Monica. You've got Janet G., I think, doing middays. Gerard Stevens doing another part of the midday staff. Jam and J. Michaels in afternoons. Or was Janet at night? I think Janet might have been at night. And so I was kind of like the part-timer, sort of doing a little bit of everything and then working promotions, just doing all kinds of right? Well, eventually things happen. Janet leaves. She got a gig in Detroit. Jay left. I moved to middays. Davey D comes on to do nights. And we actually beat him. We beat YLD. And within a period of time, not only did we beat them, but the folks that owned them, Interurban, I think was the name of the company, filed bankruptcy. And Clear Channel was able to buy the competition.
Was this before the radio stations got deregulated, though, too?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The deregulation of radio.
That's something else. If you want to talk about that, that's something I'm very interested in.
Well, I think there's good and bad in all of it, but I think it's mostly bad on deregulation. But although it's probably been good for my career. But anyway, so yeah, man, and I was with Q for 5 years, and then became the program director of YLD-FM. Did that for another 5 years, then jumped ship, went to KMEZ. They asked me to come and really launch that as a competitive entity.
You came on as program director.
Came on as program
at
director.
Old School KMEZ.
Yep, and to launch the morning show as well. And eventually became operations manager of the Baton Rouge cluster and all of that, which included that station, XOK, that I'd worked for back in 82 or 83 or whatever. Yeah, so it's been a hell of a run, dude.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of questions. I have 100 questions.
Sure.
I guess one, as far as musically.
Sure.
What kind of music were you into when you were getting into radio? Were you able to play that kind of stuff on the
radio?
radio?
You know what? I mean, oh my God. I've seen so many different variations of different stuff. And the radio gigs have been far more, increasingly more programmed and programmed and programmed and programmed.
Well, again,
to where now being over-programmed.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, which is sad. But I have always enjoyed a variety of all kinds of music. And I've been influenced by different neighborhoods that I've lived in. When I was, in high school and all, at St. Aug and everything else, my dad was really good friends with Shylight and Uncle Ratty and all those guys in the Dut and all those guys in Treme. And Shylight was a member of the Dirty Dozen Kazoo Band, which became the Dirty Dozen Brass Band, you know what I'm saying, and all of that stuff. And so seeing that evolution, Kirk Joseph, the tuba player.
Yes.
You and I were in the
band.
Sousaphone,
actually, not a
Sousaphone.
Yeah.
We were in the band together at Bell Junior High.
Oh,
so,
nice.
You know what I'm saying? That it's like one of those, seeing that, and we're talking before the Rebirth Brass Band.
Yeah.
We're talking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Rebirth started 81, 82, something like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
So seeing that evolution and what they were doing was mind-blowing for me because, they were real musicians being able to play the music and doing what they do, So I've always been influenced by this whole wealth of stuff. Whether that gets to the radio or not, I think there was a time when we embraced local music a bit more. Songs like Do What You Wanna and all of that were records that we were playing on Q93, and it wasn't Mardi Gras time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was embraced by, the mindset. I would love to see some of that. I think that there's a place for our local artists. I think our music stands up against any of the anybody's putting out, and be it not for us embracing locally, regardless of the genre, we don't have Master P blowing up here. We don't have Cash Money Records blowing up here. We don't have any of those things happening without us playing the music first.
Yes.
Which is why today, why aren't we playing Tank of the Bangas and some of this other stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that, to me, is the crime.
Well, I mean,
Galactic
so to go back to, deregulating the radio. So, again,
which I think is a misnomer, if you will. Deregulation, by definition, allowed companies to own more radio properties and television properties in a particular market than heretofore they were able to own. And I think the president was Bill Clinton at the time.
Yeah, he was.
And while I understand why they did what they did, what it did, the byproduct of that is that all of the stations are now owned by these major conglomerates who make decisions in their own behalf. When we were talking about radio earlier and the ability to be of your community.
Yes.
And what the community really is like.
Yeah.
And hey, we need to really be promoting this. And you know what? Tipitina's is trying to get back on their feet. We're going to do such and such with tips this weekend, this and this. Let's throw a tips party or whatever. Hold up. How much are they paying?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So that's where the bottom line is at this stage.
It seemed as if radio stations used to be a lot more connected. And I mean, aside from just more connected, it's you have this big antenna, and it reaches for 100 miles in every direction.
100,000 waters.
Everyone in the area can all be, you are one region. You can be connected to all these people with one voice, one signal, whatever else. And it can be there to support and at least reflect the region it's in.
Yes.
But now you have a consultant in New York or LA or Nashville that tells the general manager of one cluster in one market, hey, you should be playing this song every other hour, or et cetera,
but it's not just radio; it's TV as well, and
well,
and
at
everything
the
else.
very least, music is the one thing that New Orleans has that's better than everyone else, without a doubt. And to think that it's not that it's affected New Orleans so much, but all of these markets all over the country used to have their own individual.
Yes.
It's watering down the culture across the country.
Of course.
That's basically what I'm saying.
It's sad because in the seat of program director, my boss, who is on the television side, just had a situation. He didn't just have a situation. It's just twist to the company that owns us right now. Wasn't something that they necessarily saw. Not that they didn't see the eye to eye. It's just that we're a news operation. This is what we do. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And I call it the Mambo. And the reason I call it the Mambo, Tank, and this is a metaphor for my life whenever I'm in one of those situations, is because I was in my car bringing one of the regional or national programmers 10 years ago to the airport. He says, hey, man, you know what? I'm glad you're bringing me to the airport. Station sounds good, but I keep hearing this song, this Mambo, Mambo, Mambo. I said, Mambo? I said, when did you hear it? I don't know. I heard it this morning. It was a sweeper, and then I heard Mambo, something Mambo. Why are we playing that? I said, the Mardi Gras Mambo? I don't know. Maybe I said the song is Mardi Gras Mambo. Yeah. Why are we playing that? I said, well, it's Mardi Gras music. Mardi Gras music? What the is Mardi Gras music? I said, well, Mardi Gras music is what we play here. And if I had to define it by a genre, it's probably 50s and 60s, maybe 70s R&B. Mm-hmm. You've got the Professor Longhairs, and you've got the Earl Kings, and you know what I'm saying, Neville Brothers and stuff like that. I said, but Mardi Gras Mambo is one of the standards. Well, Mardi Gras is not until next Tuesday. Yeah, but we're in Mardi Gras right now.
It's like Mardi Gras is more than a day.
Yeah, it's a season, So when you have to explain the Mardi Gras Mambo to a motherfucker, that is really what this comes down to, and where the issue is in terms of how unique this is.
Yeah.
And it happens in all different types of businesses.
Yes.
Tank, if someone comes here and buys Tipatinas and keep you on, right? All right. You're going to have to explain the Mardi Gras Mambo to them motherfuckers.
I would hope not. Hope not.
And that's what happens when things become homogenized and all of that. And, it's a funny story, but it's heartbreaking.
Yes, yeah. This person's making decisions that's affecting a lot of
correct.
people's lives. It's a voice in the community.
That is correct.
And it is absent-minded on the community.
But he's also got to go and explain this to his guy.
Yeah, no. How are you going to tell them that they don't know the business that they're in? How do you do that?
Exactly.
That is why Jason and I were fired from our station in California. Because when I went to California, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
We were fired. There's a lot of reasons, but I think one of the ones was a little while before we were fired, telling our boss that we know what we're doing. We don't need your help.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So
there you go.
Perfect example of why you don't tell your boss they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. There you go. That's just a game. But anyway, that's part of where it is at this stage of the game. And, now we've painted this picture of this very ugly, this very, dark, whatever. Here's what has happened to the business. There's another side of the whole deal today, Tank. And the other side is that we live in the most exciting technological age.
Yes.
Where you don't need a radio company or a TV company to decide for you what content is important and to find your audience. Here's an example right now of what you're doing.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Because you can't go to WWL or WGNO or WYES and say, hey, look, we want to do Tipitina's TV 1 hour a week, and we're going to get our different... well, Tank, we don't think... how are we going to pay for that? Who's gonna watch? We don't think it works with us. The World Wide Web has decided that we're all empowered in that way. And it's the same way with the music industry, and it's the same way with films, it's the same way with television shows and all of that. That content creators can now create, the technology allows you to create, and it allows you to distribute.
Yes. Yeah.
And while it may take a second to find your audience, I'm a firm believer that if you continue to create and you're creating good content, you'll get there.
Yeah, especially if it doesn't cost you anything to create.
That is exactly right.
We are all unpaid. We're not paying you, obviously.
Man,
everyone to see you. You get that
Cokes.
koozie.
I got koozies and a
cold
Coke.
drinks and a koozie. Don't worry, I'll give you another prize later on.
Okay, cool. All right.
But like you said, you're absolutely right. Like the artist, the whoever
Yes.
creates content on their own,
Yes.
and then as soon as someone with money sees it and says, "How
Yes.
can I make $1 off this?"
Yeah.
Then they'll help you make it
Or
better.
you can sell it to them. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
But the thing is that
We are available for sponsorship. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. Go ahead and drop that
email
in there.
info@tipatinas.com or brian@tipatinas.com or tank@tipatinas.com
Get out.
for more sponsorship information. We're very sponsorable. Look, we got LBJ on the program, so obviously we got something going on.
There you go. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So that's my speech and that's my spiel. My daughter's my oldest just graduated from Tulane. My youngest
Oh, mazel tov.
she's a sophomore at Fisk, and I'm speaking to her comm class next week. But that's been my deal with all, because people, talk to us about radio. Well, what do you want to know, first of all?
It's
You know
almost like
what
a
I'm saying?
history class when you're talking about radio.
Yeah.
You know?
But the interesting thing is, though, radio has been written off 1,000 times. I think there will always be radio.
Well, that's something else I want to talk to you about.
Sure.
What is the future of radio?
I think there'll always be radio.
You've been involved in radio damn near 40 years.
That is correct. I think there will always be radio. I think as long as you've got an opportunity that people can turn something on and hear it, especially drive time radio. Now, mind you, you've got these Sirius satellites. I'm one of those people that I just can't get a Sirius subscription. I'm sorry. I'm just not paying for it.
I'm not paying for it either.
Yeah. And I've had one or two. You buy a new car and they give it to you for a month or two. It's too many channels for me.
Man, you can be searching for content all the time.
Exactly.
Find a local voice on one of your local stations.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, that's my deal. Although, God bless them. And it's created some jobs for some people. There's some folks with big careers with, satellite radio and everything else. It's a cool thing for them. For me, I look back to when FM radio comes along, people saying AM is going to go away. It's going to die. That ain't happened yet. Television comes along. People, say that, hey, radio's going to go away. Color movies come along. People say radio's going to go away. Yeah, I think radio will always be there. Will it be in the incarnation that we remember? No. Will it be in the incarnation that currently exists? I doubt it. But there is a place for radio. And a lot of times what's old is new.
Yeah.
Might not be how I like it. iHeart has this brand new initiative called Black Information Network. You know what I'm saying? The brand new Black Information Network. That's what urban radio really did.
Yeah.
It's
like that's not a new idea. You didn't create that. Sorry, you work for them now, right?
Yeah, I do. I expect to fully get my little termination letter next week.
Well, luckily you have the TV career to lean back on.
Something, But anyway, the point I'm making is that it will exist in some incarnation, and I just think it's there. There are some very strong radio stations here. I think what I would love to see is local ownership again, because what has destroyed consolidation, which was eventually going to happen, is that these companies that many times that have paid a whole lot of bills at my house, let me tell you, overpaid for these properties.
Yeah.
And when you pay 15, 20, 30 times cash flow for something, the chances of, and then you do that thousands of times across a country, which means that you owe a note to the bank of $3, $5, $7 billion. The man comes to knock for his money occasionally.
It's time to start firing guys like Tank that are causing a scene in the morning.
Yeah. Because the guys who are in senior management ain't going nowhere. Hey, we just gonna have to automate some of this.
Well, and that's just it. They wonder why the stations can't do as well. They don't have the same impact. It's like because you're playing a show out of Orlando or something.
Exactly.
Like there's not a local voice on that station speaking to the people in your community.
Exactly.
But the local ownership, there's something to that.
And now, not only are they talking to someone from there, but no one locally is deciding. And no one is, and folks are so afraid for their gigs that no one's going to go in and say, hey, man, why aren't we playing Tank and the Bangers? They won the
new hot,
Tiny Desk. They were nominated for a Grammy and Emmy. We can't play anything on that album?
Yeah.
There's not one song we can play on there?
Yeah.
You kidding me? In this city?
No, because the consultant in New York isn't familiar with it, and it's not charting in L.A.
Right.
You know?
Right, exactly. And so that is what the dilemma is of local radio right now, or corporate-owned local radio, which is a problem. And I think there is some local ownership. There are some folks buying stations. You got BOK here locally with...
Yeah, there's a small handful that are giving it the good fight. Even, the community stations like WWOZ, which started upstairs, and WRBH down magazine, it's RBH, community radio.
Yes,
it's community radio.
Yeah, and people that love those stations are passionate about it.
Yes, absolutely.
An OZ listener will knock you down to get to some OZ.
No, exactly, and that is the only station they listen to.
That is it.
That is, I broke the knob when I got
to exactly
90.7, and it stays there.
Exactly, exactly, and so you have that, and I like that. And I do like the fact that there are some local ownership options. And just as I said, what we remember as here was the Halcyon days or whatever, may never come back like that again. But a new set of Halcyon days being in local ownership of people being able to get things done, that's what I look forward to.
While we're still on the radio, what do you think makes for a good radio show personality program? What do you think?
Local, just to be plugged in, man. As long as you're plugged in and you're a voice for the folks you're talking to. And that could be any format, any genre, whatever. As long as you're plugged in.
I feel like one of the truly, at least whenever I thought shows like y'all's and ours were doing well, or one of the reasons why is because the listeners could literally call in and talk to you. Hey, I'm driving across the causeway, so I got you on speakerphone. Yeah. Hey, what is Big Abe wearing right now? Because whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Hey, Tank, I got those tickets to the show the other night. That show sucked, dude. What y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna give me another pair of tickets?
Exactly. I don't know. And with all the events that we used to do when remotes were, 6 remotes a week or something. Yeah. And again, we were the rock and roll station, so people wanted to party with us. And when Sig and Vidra could not drink any more Jaeger, it all ended up in my gullet. Tank, here, take this shot real quick. These guys won't leave us alone. We were just partying all the time and making radio. It seemed like such, it was again, as a 22, 23-year-old.
I'm about to say it's good that we were that age, Tank, when that was happening.
Yeah. And strangely enough, I remember the Friday before Katrina. When it had just crossed over Florida and was hell, this thing's coming back. Yeah. And we had done the lingerie lunch at the Swamp Room, and then we did the what was it called? The after school special at Coyote Ugly. Yeah. And then we gave away a trip to someone to go to New York at the Hard Rock, and then we went to the opening of the Venue, Wolfgang's joint that closed down across from Walmart. Yeah. I remember riding back just plastered on the back of Sig's Jeep thinking, man, this is the best day of my life. Not best day of my life. I'm going to do this forever. This is going to last forever. We can always party like this. And then I woke up in the morning, it's like, y'all probably going to need to pack up.
Yeah. I remember seeing
I was just getting ready to go to the station. It was like...
Yeah, I know. We were going to do the hunker down we used to do.
They were getting cots from the hotel. We were going to sleep at the station.
Do the hunker down.
And I had packed 3 days worth of clothes, and I was about to drive downtown, and Johnny McQueen called me up and was like, the TV stations are pulling out. I think that means we should probably go too. You should probably find somewhere safe to go. I was like, all right. I just kept on driving. It just drove to Texas instead,
Siebert called me from, hey, LBJ, I know you guys say you're going to stay in the station. You guys get out of there. I said, yeah, we can get out of there. He says, that damn thing's as big as the Gulf. I said, I know. Where would you go? I said, well, my brother's in Baton Rouge, so we'll go up there. So we went up to Baton Rouge, man, and it was probably 40 of us at my brother's house.
Yeah.
Boy, what a time.
Yeah.
But I will say this.
We'd have had a fun party at the radio station that week.
Yeah, we'd have had a fun party. We'd have died, but we'd have had a fun party. Been hot as in there, but we'd have had a fun party. You know what, though? Coming back, it was some of the most fun radio. And that was kind of like it probably was a joy for us to sort of be a part of rebuilding what that had to be. And being a part of everybody.
Those months after the storm were something special, that's for sure.
Exactly. Because we just like, we're here. We got to do it.
No, and I think that was one of the more beautiful things. Again, like, my station had gone away. We became a crappy country station.
Yeah.
But at least, we were local, and we
Yes.
could be a voice for people. And at
Yes.
least, like, they weren't listening to someone from Houston telling them what's happening in New Orleans. It's like, hey, we're downtown right now. Like, where do you live? Oh, you're on the North Shore? What are you seeing on the North Shore? What are you seeing on the West Bank?
Yep.
What are you seeing in the East? Like, people were telling us. We were reporting it from the listeners themselves.
Right. And the resources for people. Hey, man, the Salvation Army is giving
telling,
away
hey,
meals.
these people are opening up. They're feeding you over here.
That's exactly right.
Even just, hey, are you open? Like, we were giving free plugs. Like, hey, your business is back. Let's tell people, oh, man, you need tire chains? Go to this place,
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing, man.
Well, let's move on a little bit.
Sure, what you got?
Since you're on TV, and we haven't really even talked about the TV too much, you were on TV in the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken, on Cox Cable Access, right?
Man, that was fun. My brother Dennis came to me. My brother DJ, who actually does video production stuff for the school board. But DJ, who I moved to New York. Let me tell you, I moved to New York up here.
Yeah.
One of the things he did while he was in New York running a nonprofit is he went to film school. He took some film classes, I should say, at NYU. Took a few classes. And he did it for a couple of semesters and stuff like that. And he was kind of always sort of honing his own little film thing or whatever, video stuff or whatever. DJ started shooting these videos. He said, and he would get hired by these different little social aid and pleasure clubs to to come and shoot a video and, video their second line, if you will, when they were coming out. Because, the culture of the second line social aid and pleasure club thing here is, there are a couple of important times with these guys. Nobody's seen their outfits, their gaiters or whatever and stuff like that at the very beginning. The brass band's at the open place and these guys come out, or these ladies come out dressed to the nines, and they're all together, and then they start on the route, and it's a real exciting time right at the beginning. And so DJ said, man, we should start, I got an idea. We could do the LBJ show. At the time, he was also working a little bit with, I think, Access TV. I'm almost certain he was doing something with those guys over there, Cox. And the deal is, Cox had a situation where part of the contract of them getting the monopoly, if you will, in New Orleans, and I'm sure this is not unique to here because there's Access TV all over the country, is that they kind of had to provide a few different channels. You put a cable system on, you got 800 channels or whatever, but you got to have a government channel.
Okay.
So you got that, the city council or whatever.
Yeah, the same.
And you need to have an education channel, so your school board's got a channel. And you got to have access to community access. And so they actually had a little course they do, and I think they still do this, where you can actually, you could do Tipitina's TV if you wanted, or whatever. Anybody could do whatever they want to do.
Can I do it from here? Because I'm not traveling across town.
Yeah, do it from here, dude. But you do it, and you can either come in and they'll teach you how to work the cameras and do the whole thing and record it or whatever. And you see some people have their little shows, might have a same little plant sitting next to them, a lecture series.
Yeah, doing their own version of Wayne's World or whatever.
Wayne's World or whatever. Yeah. Or who's the dude with the plant? Remember?
Zach Galifianakis, Between Two Ferns? Yeah.
That is, yeah.
We're going to get, sorry to cut you off. We're going to get banana trees.
You get banana trees? Yeah.
Nick, D. Wayne upstairs, if he's listening.
There you go.
He said they had banana tree or plantain trees from Alabama that we're going to hack off.
Bring them in here.
We got plants. We're going to put them right here.
Galifianakis, this whole thing up. Yeah.
Between two bananas,
Yeah, that between two banana trees. So anyway, but what we were going to do was not necessarily use that, but deliver the completed half hour to them. And so we were able to do that and, convince them or whatever. And I dare say it probably was the most popular of the cable access shows. I don't know what that really means, but, I still get people telling me, man, y'all used to do, bro, I'm telling you, bro, we came out and that blew that ear, y'all, bro, you got that video? And I'm like, I don't know where the video is, but you know what I'm saying? But glad you were happy, bro.
Yeah.
But anyway, the LBJ show, this was my brother's brainchild, and it was a labor of love. We didn't really make any money with it. But obviously there was an audience there. And you got to understand, at the time, one of the things that has come back after since Katrina, like gangbusters, was the social aid and pleasure clubs. I think we have more now than we probably, I don't know about ever had, but they're certainly healthy now. You know, that whole population.
They've managed to not
right.
make money. They've turned it into a business, an operation. It's
exactly.
It's a proper organization.
Exactly. And
it's not just
gotta
some dudes,
credit the Jazz and Heritage Festival and the Jazz and Heritage Foundation, because they created a fund to help these guys pay for like the police escort and stuff like that. City recognized that this is an important thing.
Yeah, they're part of the community outreach.
That is exactly it. And so, you know, you that along with the Mardi Gras Indian thing and all of that sort of thing, people started to really sort of gravitate and really embrace the thing a bit more after Katrina. This show took place before then, but there was a still healthy dose of them. And I think the other thing that sort of grew out of that is, you know, the number of brass bands that we have now. You know what I'm saying? The brass bands and social aid and pleasure clubs kind of go hand in hand. And so it's all bred a really nice thing. But that was the origin of that show. And we did it for 4 or 5 years. My brother, we managed to actually get a couple of sponsors, which kind of helped pay for some things. You know what I'm saying? We got some bandanas and some different.
Did they pay for koozies like that?
Yeah, koozies and stuff. Throws. The Budweiser, the local Budweiser folks.
Southern Eagle.
Southern Eagle. Yeah, they took care of business for a minute. Jerry Peters and them. And so that was cool, you know. And so we managed to do a couple of different things. And so that was good, man. And so it was a good show. We had fun with it. It was a lot of work. My God, it was a lot of work. A lot of Sundays, you know, shooting those second lines. But it was worth it, and developed some great relationships with a lot of people, and kind of was able to see those bands and all of them kind of really come along and grow the, you know, Rebirths and Hot Eights and stuff like that, which none of them dudes don't do no street. Well, Hot Eight still does some street. I think that's a Benny and them do second lines a year or so ago.
They'll do second lines. They can pull it off for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, but to see the outreach or to see the growth of that whole thing and what that is just a beautiful thing, you know. But it was cool, man. You know, we covered some of the Mardi Gras Indians, too. I have a couple of, I know I have, my little brother did a couple of best of the second line videos that he kind of put out for purchase and stuff, and made a little money with some of it because folks from different parts of the world would buy them and stuff. But he, there's some cool interviews on a couple of the episodes, and one is with Jerome Smith, Tambourine and Fan. Another one's with, you know, Big Chief Tootie Montana. You know, Barbara Layson Keller did a nice piece with me and stuff over at the Young Man Olympia's tomb site and stuff, and in Congo Square. So a lot of it is good history stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's cool. In fact, what's her name? Lily Keeber. Just did that film Buck Jumping. That's on Amazon now?
I think it's on Amazon,
Yeah, and a lot of what we did kind of, you know what I'm saying, that kind of is an offshoot of that, telling that story, if you will.
The style,
It's just that we were doing it basically every week, kind of doing a whole, you know, a different one and stuff, and folks look forward to it, you know?
Well, you know, I think it's something commendable at the very least, just because besides that, even just today and in the past 10 years, you've helped manage to, you know, like we were talking about staying local, you've managed to feature local musicians on television, which is something that seems not like it's impossible, but it seems like it's right on the nose. Like why hasn't everyone been jumping on? And between y'all and like WWL morning shows, very few people are putting local talent on the news front and center for people.
You know, the thing is, Twist has been such a joy, you know, and it was really such a. I got a call from John Cruz, the general manager at WGNO. I don't know, it's almost 10 years ago. It have to have been 10 years because Twist made 9 years old back in January. So it would have been about this time, the year before we started. And he calls me up, LBJ, John Cruz, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm the general manager over at GNO now. And John was the local sales manager And I was the program director at KMEZ, and this is probably in 2002 or 3. He was with us for a little time. I said, of course I remember you, John. He says, well, I'm general manager over at GNO. We're talking about doing a local show that kind of is a gumbo, if you will. Music, food, this, and this. Want to know if you might be interested in co-hosting it. Yeah, you know. He said, we don't have a name. We don't have any of that. We're testing out some talent. Sets being built. And do you mind testing with some folks? Yeah, okay. What do you mean testing? What does that entail? You know what? It's probably reading a script or two and just having some fun and conversing with whoever it is. Okay, cool. And so I tested with Spud McConnell's wife. She's an actress.
I don't know who his wife is. I think he's a funny guy.
Yeah,
Spud's just kind of silly. You know?
Yeah, and from what I can understand, he actually tested. He told me he tested for the show as well, but he had something else going on. So I tested with his wife. I think her name's Maureen, if I'm not mistaken. We tested in like June of that year or May or something. And it was fine or whatever. And then I tested with this guy. The test was okay. It was kind of tough getting into the conversation, but it was fine. Then I tested with this guy who was this really right-wing, kind of really strong conservative. He's a talk show host on Satellite Network, and he lives on the North Shore, and I don't remember his name. And while we're two people from two completely different walks of life, it actually wasn't a bad test because we were able to he's a radio guy, I'm a radio guy, we were able to have conversations, and even though we differed and stuff like that, it was fine. It was, what I'm saying? And so, but I don't think they wanted the show to be two guys, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of went away. And they called me in for a third test with this young lady from Florida who was a part of some morning show, like one of the syndicated morning shows. And that was fine. We were doing the test off campus because we didn't want to freak out anybody at the station or whatever. And it was good. I just don't know if it was worth it. I don't know if they were paying the money that this woman wanted or whatever. Or I think they really kind of wanted someone who had an idea of what happens here.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It'd be strange to do that show with someone who is not from this area at all.
Yeah. For New Orleanians, man, this is my first Mardi Gras. That good for about a week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like...
runs out quick. Runs out quick. Every time, sorry to cut you off. Whenever a new anchor comes to town and they're on this station, that station, whatever, they try and feature them and put them out at a parade or at a whatever. And you see them learn for the first time, it's like, click.
Cake, how do you eat it?
Yeah.
It's like, Anyway, bro, so that happened, and then I got a letter about a month or two later, so we're probably in September, October by then. Hey, man, please don't get discouraged. The show is going to happen. The set's being built, this, and this. We really want you. We're just looking for, we're going to use a male and female co-host. We already found the male co-host, and it's you. So please, just hang tight with us. Okay, fine. And then I got the call, hey, you ever met Susan Roche? And I said, no, I know of her. I know she was DSU and then CNN and stuff like that. I always kind of kept up with the whole news game, if you will. So Susie and I tested and did well. Yeah. And then they said, okay, look, you guys in, we're in. And I think we did rehearsals for about a week or two in January. And I don't know how you rehearse the news, if you will, because, the events change.
It's not going to be the same thing again.
Yeah, it ain't like the first episode or whatever, But kind of just the feel of the different features in the piece. The pothole, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And they're trying to find their way to sort of put this all together. And it was being put together by the Creative Services Department at GNO. And then, which is fine, that's kind of like the production department, if you will, And then, like about 2 or 3 weeks before we were set to launch, they yanked it out of that department and put it under the news umbrella. And I think that kind of got a little weird for some folks for a minute. But, she and I are just coming in. We don't, what I'm saying? We're just doing our thing. And what it did was, for something the last 9.5 years, obviously there's something there and everything else. And it had its cultural spot and everything else. I'm not sure it was ever a ratings number 1 or 2, you know what I'm saying? It was never designed to do that, but you're talking about a station that wasn't in that kind of position ratings-wise ever. What it was a revenue producer. Yeah. Because you're able to feature and sponsor.
It's
and
sellable. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, which
a
is what a
local
sales
audience.
department really wants.
Extremely sellable.
Exactly. And so you can sell a pothole of the day feature. You can't sell a murder of the day. You can't sell a, you know what I'm saying, a shooting of the week or whatever the hell, you know? And so that's what Twist was. And it was, and, you know, to get back to your point, the larger point about featuring music and stuff like that, very early on, I mean, we started having music. It was always a part of the thing. But they still was a corner of the set, kind of like this is, you know what I'm saying? And this is the set. Let's put a stage over there. We've got these bands coming in. That way we don't have to disrupt this, but also we're giving that a dedicated space. Get a drum kit, a piano, and rig it and stuff like that to where when we've got bands in, it's plug and play for these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was never, certainly we've obtained the content to be able to put on, but we'd like to think that in the end, we help to also get some things rolling and getting some names out there and, you know, folks that weren't getting that on a consistent basis and everything else. And an offshoot of that was Playlist. And the way that Playlist came about, New Orleans Music Playlist, which still airs and we're airing in repeats right now because of COVID, but it's pretty easy to repeat when you've got 300 or 400 stage performances that you can manage to do that with the pieces, which is great. And that's a tremendous blessing, but it's everybody from the Victory Bells to the Zion Harmonizers that has appeared on the Twist stage, you know what I'm saying? And there's still a tremendous wish list of, you know, folks that we would love to have grace the stage.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I'm saying?
There's no shortage of talent and people you can put on here. Just like this program here. Like people, you know, the few people that have seen this or talked to me about, hey, you know, you should get it. I was like, you don't need to tell me because everyone connected to the music industry is who we plan on getting on this program eventually. So you're in the first 20. So thanks, man. It's because I had your number. That's why.
All right. Well, I hope I haven't put anybody to sleep tonight.
No, man, absolutely not. We're not done yet.
We're not done?
We still got some more things.
Well, I thought I was done. All right.
No, sorry. There's more Cokes in here if you need to.
Okay, what did you got?
A little pep up. A little pep up. Doing radio and TV at the same time. How does that handle?
You know what? It's pretty interesting because at first, when I first started doing Twist for the first 4, maybe 5 years of Twist, I was the morning show talent on KMEZ. The program director of KMEZ and KKND.
Yep.
And the anchor for Twist at 5 and 6. And I think we were recording at 11 p.m. at the time, but we were recorded earlier. So my day generally started about 3:34 in the morning, do all of my radio stuff, get out of there about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Some days, if I needed, I could take it down for an hour or two. Other days, I could just go ahead and go straight through it. But what helped tremendously during those years is the fact that you can do so much virtually. At that time, Twist was a part-time gig, believe it or not. I was always the full-time anchor of those shows, but I treated it like a part-time gig, and that was my arrangement with them because I was signed
you had
as
other
the
people
program
writing
director.
material. You didn't have to produce the show or anything.
No. I'd show up and be funny, or just be whatever, be me. You know, I didn't have to be funny, just be me, and so do our thing. And as Twist started to get some legs about itself, it really started to sort of take on some things, and there were the whole location shows and all of that kind of stuff. And all the while, my relationship with John Cruz, who's the general manager over there, is a pretty good relationship, a very deep relationship. And he also was very privy to the information when things were starting to go sideways with the Cumulus folks. Because Cumulus bought KMEZ. I imagine they've owned it about 6 years or so now or something like that. And about a year or so in, you know, we were having these real conversations. And John, I don't think I'm going to be on the radio side doing as much of that. Because it doesn't look like, you know, the blocks are lining up or whatever. He was like, hey, man, I'd love to have you here full time. And if you want to do that, then, you know, we'll work to make that happen. And, you know, we continued to have that conversation. And when it was starting to go sideways, we were already kind of, okay, cool, here's what we can do. And they kind of made it worth my while in the same way. It's not like anything got cut off or whatever. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was a tremendous blessing to be able to do that. And it's been one of those situations where I've just sort of, embraced it. It's fun. It's kind of still in my wheelhouse and all of that. And even now with this latest turn of them doing more of a news thing, I'm thrilled and honored that they fit me in the way that, hey, a part of what the directive is from corporate of Nexstar is to have a strong community element. Okay, who's our community guy? That dude.
The guy who's been tapped into the community for over 40 years. Yeah.
That is our guy.
Who.
Yeah.
That's who.
And so there's that. And we still want to do this part. We still want to do that. We still want to do this. So if there is anything that is kind of like a constant in the whatever I've managed to make a career of, it's one, an adaptability, but another one, and that's not me patting myself on the back, it's survival, dude. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, but it's a no shortage because of your talent.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
Tank. But I've had one of those careers that's been a dream career. I've done more than I ever thought I would do, and you know what I'm saying, and managed to take care of the kids and wife and all that other stuff. But I also don't think that the career that I have could probably have existed someplace else in this way. You understand what I'm saying?
Possibly not. Yeah, no, I think I absolutely
so it's
know
one
what
of
you're
those
saying.
things. So, I mean, that gotta love all this stuff here at home,
No, and you absolutely make it, a fun life for yourself at the very least,
Yeah,
however
it's cool.
hard the work might be. I want to ask you, just because, we're here,
Sure.
obviously, and we've talked about it before, Tipitina's. Do you remember the first time you came to Tipitina's?
I snuck in that door right there.
All right.
But I'm trying to remember who it was I came to see.
Do you remember about what year, maybe?
Ooh, it would have been early 80s while I was at Loyola.
Yeah, so while it was still just downstairs only.
Yeah, I snuck in that door. I don't remember who it was, but I do remember some earlier days and coming to a bunch of great shows here, and seeing the George Clintons and all of them and everything else, and and the cameos and all of them dudes, man, and coming up here. But I also remember seeing some killer ass Neville Brothers shows and some like that here. One of my fondest memories was seeing Mac here. A couple years before he passed away, Dr. John and stuff. And by that time, we had kind of gotten cool and laughed about a bunch of different and so he had us come, me and my wife, to come and see him. I'm trying to remember what he was performing for. It might have been his New Year. What did he do? New Year's or Christmas?
He did a couple of shows between Christmas, like 27, 28,
Yeah.
something like
Well,
that.
we were here for one of them.
Yeah, he would do like a two-night stand.
Yeah, his last year that he did them.
Mm-hmm.
He had us over and stuff, and so we had a friggin' blast. Mac, you come see Mac, and if he told you come out, it's a long night. You dig what I'm saying? Because you got to wait until the show's over, and you got to come see Mac, and you got to chill. One of my funniest Tipitina's memories, I have a buddy by the name of Ernest Butler who loves the Neville Brothers and can tell you every Neville song, B-side, this, and this, but he's the same way with George Clinton.
All right.
And Ernest is an older dude who loves George. I mean, just George can do no wrong, and he knew all the guys in the band and the dude in the diaper and all that, and he just loved it, right? And I'd gotten Ernest some tickets to come up here. Man, you got to come with me. I'm like, dude, I got to work tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Man, you got to come with me. I'm like, okay. So I come, and we're here to see George. And, if you've seen P-Funk and George and them in Tipitina, if you've seen them live ever in the last 20 years, each song is like 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. No, they play about a 5-song set.
That
lasts 2.5 hours, yeah.
So after the first song, I'm finished. You know what I'm saying? I'm through. I'm done.
It's like, I'm up in
through.
5 hours to make the radio.
There you
or
go,
make
dude.
the TV. Yeah.
Man, you can't have George up here, man. And I mean, he and I had a shouting match right back there. And I'm like, dude, I got to get the out of here. I got to go. Ernest, I got to go, bro. I just got to go. He tells every man he left me at George Clinton's show. I'm like, dude, you look at game. Oh my God, he loves George. But I mean, I've seen so many different acts and different varieties of music, and Bobby Caldwell. I mean, just, oh my God, this place is a joint. I started being able to go out and see stuff the warehouse was over by the time I was old enough to do that. And this is pre-House of Blues. You understand what I'm saying? And so Tips for me was a place I cut my teeth in order to be able to see the gigs, the real, you know what I'm saying? And shit, I've been in here easily with 1,000 people in here. Don't tell nobody, especially the fire department, Yeah, man, this is the place, man. I love it. Absolutely love it. Mm-hmm.
Other hobbies of yours. So
Sure.
we're gonna wrap it up soon. Don't worry.
Sure.
You grab another Coke if you need.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right, cool. Fisherman. Quite
I
the
love
avid
to fish.
fisherman.
In fact, that's why I keep looking at my watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say you said
5 a.m. I will be getting up and putting boat in the water.
All right, don't worry. We'll keep it. We'll keep it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going fishing. In the morning.
Do you got? How long you been fishing? You get into it?
Oh my God, all
when
my
you
life.
get your own boat? Anything?
Oh
like
yeah,
that?
all my life. I mean, which my dad and my uncles and all of them took us fishing. You live here, man. You gotta love to do something outside, And so it's been one of those things, and I think probably the last 20 years or so I've done more of it than even.
Yeah, I was gonna
got a
say
boat
if you
and all that
retired
stuff.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
be a happy man. Just fish
I
every day,
fucking
right?
Fish every day, dude.
Does it ever bother your wife, family, anything?
She's probably happy to get the
You out of the house, wake up to quiet bedroom.
oh, you're going fishing. Don't wake me up. That kind of deal. No, it's fun, man. Fishing is cool. And it's one of the things that, we were a little skittish when COVID hit in terms of whether or not, is it safe? Is it this? Is that? Because...
But going out in the water all by yourself, there's no one around.
That was me and my buddy. You know what I'm saying? But my buddy's a little older, Wendell, cousin, and I have fished for years together. And I have gone to work every day during the pandemic. And they cut down the numbers in the newsroom significantly, and I don't go around a whole lot of people. And even if I'm going to shoot a piece somewhere, today I was live, the voting thing or whatever, and the cameraman rode in his vehicle and I ride in mine, you know what I'm saying? And so that's been our life since the pandemic started. The camera guys work outside of the building, the producers for the most part work outside of the building and all that. It's a skeleton crew. We've got more people in the building now than we've had at any point during the pandemic, but it was one of those kinds of things. And so I'm leaving the house every day. And so what I don't want to do is bring something back to the wife, the kid, you know what I'm saying, him or whatever the story is, because we're riding in the same car to go fishing, to pull the boat. So didn't know if it was safe or not, But it turned out to be fun.
All right. Something else I learned about you only by spending 5 minutes trolling your Twitter account, that you are quite the carpenter.
Oh, man, I don't know about that. Yeah,
Well, I saw a couple
fun.
things you made, and I'm wondering if I could get you to go ahead and make us a new table. For the All Right
Hook
broadcast.
y'all up a table
This
for,
this
for
is a nice
Tipitina's
table.
TV. I
This is a
see
nice
that.
table.
Yeah, a little
but
basic.
it's part of, we use them for private parties and stuff. So I
Okay.
know Mary, my manager, is going to be mad if there's ever a scuff on it from me clinking down, getting too drunk.
Yeah,
What's it
man.
going to take to
I'm
get
gonna
you
put
to...
some I'm going to put some time into that.
all right, let me know if you need some product.
I'm going to find something that works for Tips TV, and you will have it.
all right.
No, man, you know what? That's kind of an offshoot of working for my dad, my uncles, and my cousins, and all of them. Throughout those years, I talked about working in radio and all of that. Tank, if you're starting in a business like radio, you ain't making no real money for a significant amount of time.
No, I was making $18,500 a year, and I thought I was crushing it. I was 22, 23.
Yeah. Well, I don't think my first job paid $18,500 for the first 3 or 4 years.
This is the 2000s, though. This is 2000, inflation.
This is 81,
Inflation.
yeah. So, but working for my folks, and I mean, that was always fun, and so it goes from being handy to fix this, to hang a piece of sheetrock, to do this, to do that, to, Unc's got a contract changing some windows, this one's got a contract putting the roof on and all that. It's not like I could build a house or anything like that, but I certainly
No,
have some
but look
shit.
at all your other all of your co-anchors and everyone else that you've been in radio and TV. It's a bunch of journalism school nerds, right?
Yeah.
They can't do anything.
Yeah, there you go.
They're worried about their makeup.
There you go. And I've got, I've probably over the years have compiled a handsome garage of tools and saws and, levels and all kinds of other stuff to be able to get some stuff done. And, it's just fun. It's some fun weekend stuff. I picked up on doing what has become, I guess, fairly popular here in the last couple of years, and that would be a wood called live edge, which is basically someone takes a piece of oak or cypress or whatever. And you've seen these tables all over the place, and essentially you're taking that and making either a piece of furniture from, or resins become very popular with colored resin and stuff like that. And so, hey man, that's a weekend project kind of stuff I sort of do to have a little fun, and it's cool,
All right. Well, if I see a piece of wood laying around,
yeah,
I'll give you a holler.
Okay, give me a holler and let me knock it out.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be very sweet of you. Don't worry, and we'll give you credit every episode.
Okay,
It'll
cool.
be Table by LBJ.
I'm gonna hook that up
in the credits
I'm gonna
every
hook
time.
that up. I'm gonna hook that up for the Tips TV.
Absolutely, it'll be your retirement plan. You can do that instead of make TV.
That I'll make wooden stuff and
For
fish.
sure. You've been super generous with your time, and you're also, I haven't noticed or mentioned this, you are the best dressed guest we've ever had. You're the first person to wear a jacket.
Oh, really?
On the
you know
All Right,
what? I
All
was
Right
on
broadcast.
Tips TV. I had to act like I was on the Tonight Show or something. You don't show up there looking like an idiot with a tank top on.
For sure. Well,
unless you're Mike Tyson or some.
Right. There's one thing that we always ask the guests.
Sure.
It's a food segment, so you're comfortable talking about food, and I'm sure that you're going to have plenty to say about this. Stanton Moore of Galactic has a famous po' boy at Guy's Po' Boys around the corner.
Right.
It's one of our neighborhood places. Not that we don't love all the other places in the neighborhood. I don't want any backlash, by the way, from giving Guys so much attention. But Marvin from Guys is dear friends with Galactic. They used to live across the street. He created a signature po' boy called the Bomb that is over at Guys that you can get right now. It's actually very
Holy
good.
moly, at Guys?
At Guys, yeah.
Called the Bomb, huh?
It's called the
I'm
Bomb.
about to go in there and get it.
All right, well, yeah, try it out. But what I want to ask you is, what is your do you have a favorite spot, a favorite sandwich from that spot?
Oh, my God.
More specifically, what is the LBJ signature po' boy? If you walk in and the LBJ is on the menu, what is that po' boy?
It probably.
Well, what's your favorite place? Or do you have a favorite
my favorite
one?
place, and I love a bunch of different places.
I mean, you're a celebrity, so people are going to be mad if you don't say their place.
Well, first of all, I do love me a shrimp po' boy, and I mean, dressed and the whole nine and all of that, and so and there's 1,000 places in town I can get that.
Yeah. That's your normal.
But that's my deal, right? But fairly recently, I've been a Bon Me Boys fan, and their Bang Bang Shrimp.
Very good. Tubbs is a fan too.
Tubbs, you're a fan? Oh, yeah. You're the Bang Bang Shrimp guy, or what are you, portobello mushroom? What are you? Bang Bang Shrimp. There you go. And it's got a cool name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the Bang Bang Shrimp, so that's my deal. But I love that, and so that's kind of been my lately.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
What
But I
is
mean,
the LBJ, though?
that's the LBJ. If I go in there, Mr. Joseph, here you go. They know the usual. It's all good,
Well, that one exists. You got to create one now.
Yeah, man. I got to create one.
No, I'm saying right now. You have to create one on the program.
Oh, I got to create an LBJ on the program?
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be shrimp.
All right, it'll be a shrimp po' boy.
Shrimp po' boy. And then...
Fried.
Okay. And then the place that used to be on Carrollton and the streetcar, I think it was called the streetcar, if I'm not mistaken. It was a po' boy shop. I think it's a bike store right now or something like that, G&O Cyclery or whatever. There used to be a po' boy joint right there. And they had, I think they called it the Works or something, but it was shrimp, oysters, bacon, dress.
Like Peacemaker style?
Dude, that was it.
All right.
The Peacemaker.
All right.
Was that the place? Who
Well,
sells the Peacemaker now?
They have those all around. Like, everyone has their
they
version
stealing
of the
that.
Yeah,
they
shrimp,
stealing
oysters, and bacon, and often with even debris or even French fries and debris.
No, I don't need
and
all
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
I just need the Peacemaker just like it was. I'm telling you, that was the first time I saw that. They
Shrimp,
were the
oyster,
only ones
bacon?
that had it, huh?
Shrimp, oyster, bacon dressed.
Shrimp, oyster, bacon, dress, maybe a little hot sauce. Yep.
Maybe. Why wouldn't you give it just a dash? Just a
dash
dash.
of hot sauce. Yeah, I'm with it.
Well, again, thank you so much for being on the program. And I said I'd give you another prize. No one leaves here empty-handed. You can keep the koozie. But I do have for you a certificate suitable for framing.
Holy moly, I'm framing that.
Yeah, well, it's suitable for framing. Go ahead and read that for me.
That. Let me see. It says,
Read it aloud.
Certificate suitable for framing for participation in the All Right broadcast. We hereby certify that LeBron, LBJ Joseph, officially awesome for being interviewed on this day, October 16th, 2020. Suck it. Yes, indeed. For absolutely no monetary compensation whatsoever. Congratulations and you're welcome. Hey,
You
man,
are
I love
welcome,
you.
yeah.
I love you guys. Seal of seriousness on here. I love y'all.
Here's
Hey,
a
man.
folder. I don't want you to make any excuses why you
Yeah,
dropped
man, hold
it
up
or
a
whatever
second.
else.
Yeah. Why this got stuck in the visor?
No.
Hold up
That's-
a second. Let me
That's
get the
for real.
folder.
That's going to go up in the WGNO office. And
That is
everything
correct.
else.
That's going to go up in the office there and all that. Hey, man, thank y'all for having me.
Dude, thank you again. Seriously, I love you dearly, and
Love
you've
you too,
been,
Tank.
a mentor for a lot of people. But I think you really have something special going on for a long time, and you've affected a lot of people's lives in a very special way. And we hope that you continue to do it for real.
Thank you. And
Thank you
kick-ass
so
tips. I
much.
can't wait until y'all open up again, and anything I can do to help
Likewise.
facilitate that and let people know we're going to do that.
Absolutely, man. And anything that you ever need from us, don't hesitate for a second. Seriously, LBJ, I'm going to do the wrap up now.
All right.
LeBron Joseph, the real LeBron, right here.
Hey.
The original
I had the name
LeBron.
first. I got to tell you my LeBron James story one day when we get a minute.
All right, you want to do this on air?
Yeah, I'll do it right now. You
All
want me to tell
right.
you?
Yeah, real quick. Yeah.
So we're at Essence, probably 10 years ago, 8 or 10 years ago, my wife and I used to have a gig where Essence, when they came to town, Essence Fest, and this is before Sig and them were producing it, but they did a great job with it too. The backstage at Essence is kind of like one of these backstage deals. It's like a nightclub, right? And it ain't like a joint. It's like a night, like couches,
Yeah.
bars sponsored by people. And if you backstage, and so the gig that I had was, I was one of the, I used to open, they used to have local MCs do a bunch of stuff, MC the super lounges and stuff. And I actually used to open the main stage, the big stage every night. And it's kind of like you're the local guy and you bring up the first band or two and yada, yada, yada. And then you turn it over to whoever the national guy, Steve Harvey or whoever, right?
Yeah.
Cool thing about that is that it didn't pay a whole lot of money, but it was also great tickets, like Gold Circle, 2 or 3 rows
Oh,
back
yeah, you're
tickets.
front row for Prince.
Yeah,
there
you go. That and backstage, all access.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so me and the wife, you know what I'm saying? So we're back there and shit. And so on this particular night, we're backstage and everything else. And the food, which is buffet style, is also incredible. It's catered, it's nice. It's backstage because throughout the night, they're going to have celebrities coming through there because, they've got trailers and but, the band and this one and a couple of celebrities and all that come through there. Anyway, so on this particular night, we're back there and we're eating and my part of the night is pretty much done. It's early and stuff. And so this crowd of guys coming this way. But standing around is one accessory is beautiful women, beautiful young women all over and stuff. And with my wife, we're cool, we're having a good time and I'm eating. And so a group of guys coming over that way. And my wife said, "Oh, that's LeBron James." I said, "Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Fuck it, I'm LeBron Joseph, you know what I'm saying? I'm eating. You dig what I'm saying?" So anyway, he comes up and he's kind of like, I don't know, maybe where that post is, about 15 feet from us, right? And then Al Sharpton is over here and he's talking to a couple of people. And of course, celebrities, hey, Al, what's happening? Rap, da, 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 they hug and take a picture or two and all of that. And as something was happening, they were kind of getting closer to us. After they took a picture or two, there was a photographer and cell phones or whatever. And so Greta and I are just standing there, we're eating and everything else. And she said, he probably would get a kick out of the fact that your name is LeBron and his name is LeBron. I said, nah, I don't give a about that. Yeah, you should give him one of your cards. He probably would think it's hilarious. Greta, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm eating. I don't really, I don't groupie these dudes. You know what I'm saying? If it was a conversation like this, a different story. But, and that, yeah, you should give him one of your cards or whatever. I said, I don't even have any. I have 2 of your cards in my wallet. Here, give it to him. I bet he would. It's like, nah, I don't really. You know what I'm saying? I don't really. Well, by this time, Tank, he's as close to me as you are,
All
right? And so Greta's argument to me is getting more convincing. To go ahead and say, hey, man, nice to finally meet you. I'm LeBron. I've had that name all my life. People used to up my name until you came along
Yeah.
and call me LeBaron and all kind of But anyway, what I don't realize is starting to happen simultaneously as he and Rev are standing there talking, and they've kind of walked toward us and are standing right next to us, is that a group of women are starting to kind of really starting. You know, if you know anything about LeBron James, you know, he really don't get down, you know what I'm saying? Maybe some of his boys or whatever, but he's pretty much.
He's still a magnet.
Yeah, but he's still a magnet, chick magnet all the way around, right? You should give him your card. Just go ahead and give it to him or whatever. So anyway, she's convinced me to on this cockamamie-ass idea, and so I take the card, and I say, hey, man, and as soon as I stepped to the guy to give him the card, my feet left the ground, and my food went somewhere, and his bodyguard placed me over to the side. Wasn't violent. It didn't hurt. It just was very efficient.
Yeah.
And so I was like, holy shit. And immediately they kind of got him out of the way and folks got out of the way. And so I kind of walked back over toward Greta and she goes, what did he say? I said, you saw what the just happened? You saw what the just happened. So I've never believed her about giving people my card ever again.
Well, needless to say, that was hilarious.
Dude,
It's great.
it's the end of my night.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That actually happened.
I haven't done the wrap up and the thank yous.
Okay.
Thank you so much to John Michael Tubbs for running the sound and lights, filling
Tubbs.
in for the great
Tubbs.
Pete Jones.
Tubbs.
I'm sorry,
Tubbs
Tubbs
with
with
a B?
two B's.
Okay, because I had it wrong.
Yeah,
Tubbs.
no, he's not Mr. Tuggs.
Yeah, he said you got to take him to dinner for
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Tanner upstairs running the cameras. Thank you so much, Tanner.
Tanner.
And Nick on the editing, Nick Logan. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much to LeBaron Joseph.
Holy
LeBaron,
moly,
sorry.
there you go.
LBJ and LeBron Joseph. Thank you to Tipatinas for letting us use the space. Thank you for watching on tipatinas.tv and to nugs.net for allowing us to use your cameras. Like, subscribe, comment, unless you have something bad to say. Otherwise, keep that to yourself.
All right.
But share and watch WGNO with LeBron Joseph here. And listen on WYLD 98.5 FM.
Yeah.
Sunday mornings from
8 a.m. to noon.
8 a.m. on Sundays. Who
Yeah,
That's
it's voice tracked. I did it earlier.
Thanks for ruining the magic. so
Yeah, it's
much.
our little secret. It's
All
good.
right.
It's good. Great emotion, though. You know what
Seriously, man, thank you so much for
Hey, man, thank
giving
you,
us
bro.
your time.
I appreciate
You
you.
are a pleasure to talk to. Anything you need.
too, man.
I love you dearly. Call me for anything.
I mean? Thank you, Tank. I appreciate you. And I got to put this mask back on. If y'all can invent some where your glasses don't fog up with the mask
Yeah,
on,
no,
bro.
that's everyone complains about the mask. It's like, you don't wear glasses. Why don't you shut up?
Yeah,
You don't
there
care.
you go.
Yeah.
Hey, thank y'all so much.
Dude,
I love y'all.
thank you much.
Appreciate it.
Go to sleep. You got to go fishing in the
Yeah,
morning.
I'm going fishing tomorrow.
All right,
See y'all
man.
later.
I think we're cut.
Nice. My man.
Seriously. Thank you, man. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
bro. Love you, man.
Love you too. I'll send you a copy before we post it so you can approve it.
That's